All right, so today we're going to be doing a deep dive into something pretty fascinating.
Okay.
Abstract expressionism, and more specifically, the legacy of Jackson Pollock.
Okay.
You know, how did this guy dripping paint on canvases end up, like, changing how we think about art itself?
Right.
And our guide today is this academic paper. So get ready to unpack some pretty dense concepts.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So when we talk about Pollock,
Yeah.
what's interesting is that he didn't just break the rules. He basically just obliterated them.
Okay.
So if you think about art in the early 20th century, it was all about order balance, depicting the world realistically.
Right.
Pollock just throws all of that out the window.
Yeah. So instead of pretty landscapes or perfect portraits, we get like controlled chaos, emotion translated into like splatters and drips.
Exactly. But it wasn't just about the final product.
Okay.
And that's where this idea of action painting comes in.
Right.
It wasn't about carefully planned brush strokes. It was about movement energy.
Okay.
The physical act of creation becoming part of the artwork itself.
Interesting.
And our source even describes him using sticks, trowels, knives. Even basting syringes to get that drip effect.
Really?
Yeah.
So as a viewer, are we supposed to be seeing the artist's movements, their process, as much as the painting itself? Like, it's almost like a recorded performance?
Yeah, that's one way to look at it.
Okay.
And it gets even more interesting when you consider like what Pollock was trying to express.
Okay.
It wasn't a specific scene or story. It was something deeper, something from the subconscious.
Okay.
Think of it like this.
Okay.
You ever have those moments where your thoughts are just a jumble firing off in every direction?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's what Pollock is capturing visually.
Okay, so I'm starting to see how he pushed boundaries.
Yeah.
But let's get specific.
Okay.
The paper talks about autumn rhythm 1950.
Yeah.
Are you seeing this in your mind's eye? Black, brown, white lines, no clear beginning or end, just this energy that pulls you in.
And that lack of a focal point is key.
Right.
It's not guiding your eye through a narrative.
Okay.
It's about the overall impact, the feeling it evokes. Imagine your own thought processes.
Okay.
Do they follow like a neat linear path?
Not always.
Not always.
Right. Definitely not.
Sometimes it's like a Pollock painting up in here.
Yeah, sometimes it is. Exactly. Yeah.
But speaking of contrasts, the paper compares Pollock's mural with Orozco's The Epic of American Civilization.
Yes.
Both huge murals.
Right.
But that's where the similarities end.
Right. Okay.
With Orozco, you have clear storytelling historical figures, a message for the masses. Pollock's mural is something else entirely.
Okay.
It's like he's saying, here's pure emotion and energy.
Yeah.
You figure out what it means to you.
So Orozco is giving you the textbook, and Pollock is giving you the abstract building blocks and saying, go create your own understanding.
Exactly. And their techniques highlight this difference.
Yeah.
Orozco uses recognizable forms, even if stylized.
Right.
Pollock simplifies and exaggerates,
Oh, okay.
focusing on the feeling and rhythm of the lines, how they interact within that space he creates on the canvas.
Now, the paper claims that Pollock didn't just create art. He changed how artists approach art altogether. How can one guy dripping paint have that much impact?
Well, because he showed that art doesn't have to represent the external world.
Right.
It can represent internal states, pure feeling the act of creation itself. There's a quote from another artist, Alan Caprow. He said that Pollock created magnificent paintings, but also destroyed painting in the process.
Okay. That's pretty dramatic.
Yeah.
How can you both create and destroy something simultaneously?
Well, what Caprow meant was that Pollock shattered the existing rules.
Okay.
He destroyed the need for a preconceived image or message, opening up this world where the process, the artist's subconscious, became the driving force.
So he freed art from having to be about something concrete. It could just be about the pure experience, the act of expressing itself.
Precisely. And that's a huge shift in thinking.
Right.
And it paved the way for artists like Barnett Newman, Robert Rauschenberg, Jasper Johns.
Okay.
Each took Pollock's ideas and ran with them in their own way.
Are you now ready to see how these other artists fit into this new world that Pollock created?
Okay.
Where do we start?
Start with Barnett Newman.
Okay.
He really took that idea of spontaneity and ran with it.
Okay.
His piece, 1-1, is a perfect example.
All right, walk me through this.
Okay.
What am I looking at when I see 1-1?
Imagine a canvas.
All right.
And right down the middle, a single vertical stripe of color.
Uh-huh.
That's it.
Wow.
No figures, No elaborate composition, just that one powerful line.
That's stripping things down to the bare essentials.
Right.
It's like he's saying, here's the pure essence of feeling no distractions.
And that zip, as he called the stripe, wasn't even planned.
Oh.
He said it just appeared as he was working.
Oh, interesting.
A sudden burst of inspiration taking form.
Oh.
It's like capturing lightning in a bottle.
So both Pollock and Newman are tapping into this subconscious energy, letting it guide their hand. But while Pollock is all swirling movement, Newman goes for stark simplicity.
That's a great observation.
Yeah.
They're both exploring the same territory.
Right.
But using completely different visual languages.
Interesting.
Now let's talk about Robert Rauschenberg.
Okay.
He took Pollock's ideas and pushed them in a radical new direction.
This is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
What did Rauschenberg do that was so different?
Well, consider his white painting from 1951.
Okay.
It's literally just white canvases. Empty blank. Almost like a challenge to the viewer.
Oh, I'll bite.
Yeah.
What's the point of a painting that's essentially nothing?
Well,
Messing with us?
not exactly.
Okay.
Rauschenberg believed that the viewer completed the artwork.
Oh.
The meaning wasn't inherent in the paint, but in how we interacted with it, what we projected onto those blank canvases.
So, in a way, he's democratizing art.
Right.
It's not about what the artist intended, but what the viewer experiences.
Precisely. He even said today, is their creator, referring to the people viewing the white painting. The meaning isn't fixed. It evolves with each interaction.
That's a pretty radical concept.
Yeah.
It almost makes the artist irrelevant.
He certainly pushed the boundaries of what art could be, that's for sure.
Right.
And he was also pushing the boundaries of abstract expressionism towards what would become minimalism.
Okay, so I've got Pollock's energy, Newman's spontaneous zip,
Right.
and Rauschenberg's almost nothingness.
Yeah.
Where does Jasper Johns fit into all of this?
Johns is fascinating because he bridges the gap between Pollock and Rauschenberg.
Okay.
He combines that energetic process with everyday objects,
Okay.
like in his piece, Green Target.
All right, break this one down for me.
Okay.
What's so special about a green target?
At first glance, it's just a green circle on canvas.
Right.
But if you look closer, there's subtle movement, a layering of colors, creating a sense of depth and dynamism.
So he's taking something recognizable, almost banal, and elevating it into something abstract and thought-provoking.
Exactly.
Okay.
And he even talked about painting without focusing, letting the process guide him, which echoes Pollock's rejection of pre-planning.
Right.
It's like he's allowing the subconscious to speak through those familiar forms.
I'm seeing a common thread here.
Yeah.
Pollock, Newman, Rauschenberg, Johns. They're all rejecting the idea of the artist as this masterful planner executing a predetermined vision.
You're spot on.
Yeah.
They're embracing the unpredictable, the spontaneous, letting go of control, and allowing the art to emerge organically.
And that seems to be at the heart of abstract expressionism.
Yeah.
It's not about what you see, but what you feel. It's about the experience, the emotional connection.
And there's a beautiful quote from John Cage about Rauschenberg's work that captures this.
Oh, really?
He says, "We see as it was, everything is in chaos still. Even in the seeming order, there's this underlying chaos,
Right.
a sense of constant flux that resonates with Pollock's ideas as well."
So abstract expressionism is embracing the duality of life itself, the order and the chaos, the conscious and subconscious all swirling together.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that life is a messy, complex, and ultimately abstract experience.
Right.
And art can reflect that in all its raw beauty.
I like that.
Yeah. He certainly pushed the boundaries of what art could be, that's for sure.
Right.
And he was also pushing the boundaries of abstract expressionism towards what would become minimalism.
Okay, so we've got Pollock's energy, Newman's spontaneous zip,
Right?
and Rauschenberg's almost nothingness.
Yeah.
Where does Jasper Johns fit into all of this?
Johns is fascinating because he bridges the gap between Pollock and Rauschenberg.
Okay.
He combines that energetic process with everyday objects,
Okay.
like in his piece, Green Target.
All right, break this one down for me.
Okay.
What's so special about a green target?
At first glance, it's just a green circle on a canvas.
Right.
But if you look closer, there's subtle movement, a layering of colors, creating a sense of depth and dynamism.
So he's taking something recognizable, almost banal, and elevating it into something abstract and thought-provoking.
Exactly.
Okay.
And he even talked about painting without focusing, letting the process guide him, which echoes Pollock's rejection of pre-planning.
Right.
It's like he's allowing the subconscious to speak through those familiar forms.
I'm seeing a common thread here.
Yeah.
Pollock, Newman, Rauschenberg, Johns. They're all rejecting the idea of the artist as this masterful planner executing a predetermined vision.
You're spot on.
Yeah.
They're embracing the unpredictable, the spontaneous.
Okay.
Letting go of control and allowing the art to emerge organically.
And that seems to be at the heart of abstract expressionism. It's not about what you see, but what you feel. It's about the experience, the emotional connection.
And there's a beautiful quote from John Cage about Rauschenberg's work that captures this.
Oh, really?
He says, "We see as it was, everything is in chaos still." Even in the seeming order, there's this underlying chaos.
Right.
A sense of constant flux that resonates with Pollock's ideas as well.
So abstract expressionism is embracing the duality of life itself. The order and the chaos, the conscious and subconscious all swirling together.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that life is a messy, complex, and ultimately abstract experience.
Right.
And art can reflect that in all its raw beauty.
I like that.
Yeah.
So after this deep dive into abstract expressionism, what's like the one thing you hope our listener really takes away?
I think it's this abstract expressionism isn't about, deciphering a puzzle or like finding a hidden meaning.
Yeah.
It's about opening yourself up to an experience,
Okay.
to the raw energy and emotion the artist is conveying.
It's like stepping into their mind, seeing the world through their unique lens.
Yeah.
Even if that lens is a bit messy.
Yeah, exactly. Embrace the messiness, the ambiguity. That's where the magic happens.
Okay.
It's not about finding the right interpretation.
Right.
It's about what resonates with you, what emotions or memories it triggers in your own mind.
That's so freeing, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
like art becomes this like personal conversation between you and the canvas. A dialogue that can change every time you look at it.
Absolutely. And that's something Pollock really opened up for us.
Right.
He showed us that art doesn't have to be this polished, perfect thing.
Yeah.
It can be raw, vulnerable, even chaotic, and still be incredibly powerful.
This has been such an eye-opening journey.
Yeah.
I feel like I've not only learned about these artists, but also learned something about myself, about how I approach and experience art.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
Art has the power to challenge us, to make us think differently, to connect with something deeper within ourselves.
Right.
And abstract expressionism, with its emphasis on emotion and the subconscious, takes that to a whole new level.
So if Pollock's art is like a snapshot of his mind in motion, what do you think your own inner landscape would look like if you were to express it on canvas?
Oh, that's a fascinating question.
Yeah.
Mine would probably be a mix of like bold colors and intricate patterns.
Okay.
Constantly shifting and evolving, never quite settling into a fixed form.
Interesting.
Kind of like a kaleidoscope, maybe.
I think mine would have a lot of texture and movement.
Okay.
Maybe some hidden layers that reveal themselves over time, like a landscape that's constantly being reshaped by the elements.
I love that imagery.
Well, there you have it.
Yeah.
A deep dive into the world of abstract expressionism.
We did it.
From Pollock's revolutionary drips to the artists who followed in his footsteps, each pushing the boundaries of what art can be.
Right.
We encourage you to explore their work and see what speaks to your own inner landscape.
Definitely.
Remember, there's a whole world of art and ideas out there waiting to be discovered.
That's right.
Stay curious and keep those deep dives coming.